Hey guys, Ryan Soda here, back here to do another movie review, and today we will be reviewing Saw 3D, the final chapter. Now, Saw 3D, yeah, that's basically what it's called. Like, it's pretty much Saw 7, but the title is Saw 3D, the final chapter. But I definitely think this movie should have just been titled Saw 7. But Saw 7, this was the last Saw movie for quite a while. I mean, not quite a while, like 7 years. I mean, that's not that long, but we thought it was the last, but it was the last of these movies, though. You know, the original timeline. Well, I mean, I guess Jigsaw and Spiral are the same timeline, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like these, like the original order, as I would say. So yeah, Saw the final chapter. Now, this is one that's regarded as to be the worst of the franchise, and I highly agree with that because this one is like easily my least favorite of the Saw movies, and I do not like it. Far from it, I fucking hate this movie. But I can't believe the Saw franchise, like, it goes from my favorite Saw movie to my least favorite Saw movie. Because if you guys saw my review for Saw 6 that I did yesterday, I said that that one was my favorite of the Saw movies. But once we get to the next installment, that becomes my least favorite of the franchise. So it's kind of weird. It goes from my favorite Saw movie to my least favorite Saw movie. So yeah, that's kind of weird. But yeah, but this movie, it's not a good movie at all. It has a lot of flaws, like a shit ton of flaws in it, and there's only like a few things that I would say is like legit good in this movie, but everything in this movie is so bland, so boring, so weird, so distracting, this movie looks so fucking bad. My main issue with this movie is they decided to shoot this movie in fucking 3D. Like, why the fuck would you guys do that? Like, why film this movie in 3D? And even if you wanted to, you could have like given us a better quality. Like, this movie's picture quality, like the way this movie looks like, is fucking awful. Like, it's so unbearable the way this movie looks like the quality, the saturation looks like I literally want to vomit just because of how fucking bad that movie looks. Like, it looks like shit. Literally looks like someone just put dirt all over the camera or something like that, and that's what we got with this movie. It looks disgusting. Yeah, so with the saturation, like, they decided to film this movie in 3D, and that made the saturation look fucking disgusting. And then we have very, very disgusting, distracting, and weird, and literally, I don't know what else to call it, but, like, the most unnecessary thing in the movie was the blood. This movie's blood looks so fucking fake. The blood in this movie is pink. Pink mixed with purple. It literally looks like fucking juice or fucking paint. It looks disgusting. Like, it looks disgustingly distracting. It's weird. The way the blood looks in this movie, it's like, you could have, if you not have filmed this movie in 3D, this movie could have been so much better. Like, we would have had the real red blood. We would have had the good quality. Like, Saw 6, the last movie before this, looked eye-popping. Like, that movie looked beautiful. It looked great to look. It was great to look at. Like, it was colorful. Like, it was great to look at. Like, you loved looking at that movie. But with this one, it's the total opposite. Like, this is definitely the opposite of Saw 6. Like, definitely. But with this, like I said, the blood in this movie looks awful. Like, every time, like, someone's getting killed, like, from the traps, you don't even give a shit because of how fake the blood looks like. So you already know you're watching a movie and you don't even feel jack shit for any of these characters in the traps. And I mean jack shit. And for anybody, for that matter. I mean, there's only, like, 2 or 3 characters that I cared about in this movie, but I'll get to them, though. But, yeah, the blood looks incredibly distracting, and even the fucking traps are not even all that great. Like, all these traps are fucking weird. Like, they're not creative at all. They're weird. They're odd. Like, they're just... No, like, I don't like those traps. There was only just, like, 1 or 2 traps that I thought that were pretty well designed in this movie. And there was one trap that actually had the guts to use red blood, which I really respected. But I'll get to that, though. What else was I gonna say? But, I mean, this movie... the only positive I can say about this movie is, like, yeah, the 3 characters that I'm really interested in this movie. Let's get on to those now. Now, the first character, Jill Tuck, being the main protagonist of the movie. Like, she is the main protagonist of this movie, which I really like Jill Tuck a lot in this movie. Like, she was the easily the best character of the movie. Like, you cared a lot about her because, like, after she tried to kill Hoffman, Hoffman is now really trying to go after her, and if you guys haven't seen this movie, I will get into a lot of very, very major spoilers, so please leave this review if you haven't seen this movie. But to be honest, you guys don't really have to worry about it because I'm not recommending this movie at all. So yeah, like if you guys are watching Saw, just watch from Saw 1 to Saw 6 and then just watch the ending of this movie because like the ending is the only cool part of Saw 7. But like yeah, just watch Saw 1 to 6 and then just the ending of Saw 7. Like that's all you need to watch. And then you can watch Jigsaw and Spiral too. Like I recommend those movies too, but this one no. But like I said, Jill Tuck, she was really cool how she went to the cops and right away snitched on Hoffman that he's the Jigsaw killer, that he's the one that's been pulling the strings, that he's the one we should be worrying about. And yeah, she's super scared about Hoffman going after her, and she's hiding with the cops, like the cops are protecting her. And yeah, she doesn't want anything to do with Hoffman, and she really wants to like get rid of Hoffman before she can like move on with her life like like John wanted her to do. So yeah, she really wants to help the cops take down Hoffman. So that was really cool about Jill. So yeah, she was a cool character in this movie. And then we got Hoffman, which Hoffman, he was barely even in this movie to be honest. And he was cool, but like he was barely in the movie. Like in the last Saw movie and Saw 5 and Saw 4, he was in it a lot. But with this, he's barely even in it. Like he's only in it for like just a few scenes, just once in the beginning and middle, and then like a couple times at the end. Like it's so odd how little he is in this movie because he only shows up in once in the first act when he's stitching up his little cut in his cheek from the ending of Saw 6, and then he's in it for the middle when he's giving the detective Gibson the message, and then he's at the end where he starts to do his massacre. That's the only times he shows up in the movie, so it's kind of weird, and it would have been so much better if we got a lot more of him, like how he feels about Jill trying to kill him. I mean, we get to see that he's super angry at Jill, and like that's the main person he's trying to kill. And right after this, like he wants to do more games, and he's planning another game too, and then this another game, like like he's trying to do more, and like he wants to kill Jill mostly. Like that's his main goal of the movie, and that was pretty cool actually. And he was tricking the cops yet again. Those scenes were cool. And yeah, the whole story with the cops and Hoffman and Jill, that story I really dug actually. Like I was pretty invested in that story. But there was another story with another guy in the trap. That was not interested in at all. But I'll get to that though. But what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? But yeah, Hoffman, like I said, he was fine. But he should have been in it a lot more. And then we get on to the other character that I cared about, Detective Gibson, which I thought he was pretty cool. He was fine, like how he was trying to investigate, like he was trying to help Jill, he was trying to be a good cop, and he was trying to find clues, he was trying to catch Hoffman, and yeah, he was pretty much just the new detective of the movie, and he even had a connection with Hoffman too, because Hoffman saved his life once before he turned crazy. So yeah, that was pretty cool. How that one scene where Hoffman like shoots the intruder that was gonna shoot Gibson. So yeah, that was cool. So yeah, that was cool how Gibson had a connection with Hoffman. And yeah, there's not much to say about Gibson, but I really enjoyed him though. And then we get on to the other characters, like the rest of the characters in the other side of the story in the trap, which I was not interested in at all. But I mean, I will say this, the story was pretty creative actually. Like I thought the story was very creative, but the execution of it, not really. But the story was that there was this guy named Bobby Dagan who faked that he was in a jigsaw trap, and he faked to become famous and rich because he wrote a book on how he survived jigsaw when he had these little things that like these little like knives, like I don't know what you call them, but they're like chains, and they have like that little like sharp thing at the end of it. I don't know what you call them, but he put them through his nipples, and then like he yanked and yanked and then pressed the buttons at the end of it. And so he wrote a book about that, how he survived jigsaw, but it was not even real, it was just a fake, so he can just like become famous and rich because he was living such a horrible life. Very creative story if you ask me, but the way it was executed just made it kind of boring because like how boring this character is, how much you don't care about him, how not invested you're in with him. Like, I don't know, just something about Bobby Dagen in this movie just makes him completely boring. And what else? And everyone else who's going in the traps was is boring. Like the whole trap story was super boring. Like Saw Five's trap story was really boring, but at least there was like one good trap in that. With this one, there's not even any good traps. Anything else I should say? But Bobby Dagen, when he's going through the traps, I really don't give a shit about what he's doing, like all the shit he has to do, and like all the people he has to save. I don't give a shit. Like literally, I don't give a flying fuck about that story. And like I said, because of how fake the blood looks, that makes me not care even more. So, yeah. And what else was I gonna say? But yeah, Bobby Dagen, he wasn't interesting at all. And I think though that's the only characters of this movie. There's another character too that I actually really liked, and not many people liked this part of the story, but I really dug this part of the story, and that was Lawrence Gordon, Dr. Gordon from the very first Saw movie that had to chop his foot off. He comes back in this movie, and yeah, and he's a survivor of Jigsaw, and like what else was I gonna say? And he walks on a cane. He was really cool in this movie. I liked Lawrence Gordon. Many people didn't, but I liked him quite a bit. But the only thing that I would say was bad of him was the performance. I mean, the performance was okay, but I felt like Carrie Elways was a little over the top with him at times in this movie. But there were other times I thought he was cool, like especially in the ending. Like the ending, he was fucking cool. But there was this one scene where they were in like a conference room with all the survivors of Jigsaw, and you even got to see that one guy from Saw 5 that had to put his hand in the buzzsaw thing. What else? You even see the two people from Saw 6. Like you see a few people who survived Jigsaw, and Lawrence Gordon was there, and he mocks Bobby Dagen because he knows what he's saying is fake. But I don't know. I thought Carrie Elways kind of like was over the top in that scene. Anything else I should say? But yeah, he really shines towards the end though, which I'll get to. Anything else I should say? Let's get on to the traps now of this movie. Now, the movie opens with a jigsaw trap in public, which I thought was pretty creative actually. Like, that was a good idea, having a jigsaw trap in public. But my main issues with it is that how did you even get that trap to be there in the first place without anybody noticing? And the whole confrontation and the whole point of the trap wasn't too good, and the way it was filmed with the pink blood looked so bad. And then there was even some effects in the movie that were trying to be 3D, but they were just so distracting. Anything else I should say? Like, you know, like guts coming out and going in the screen. It's like, no, that's looks fake. Anything else I should say? But that whole scene was with the love triangle with these two guys, with this one girl. Like, this girl was having an affair with these two guys, and she thought they were her, and like it made it seem like they were her boyfriends. What else was I gonna say? And like, one of the guys had to die in order to save the girl, but then they choose the girl to die because like she was the one that's been playing them. And they're like, I think we're breaking up with you, and then she dies. But it's a good idea to have a jigsaw trap in public, but everyone who was watching it just didn't even look that shocked. That they were just like, like like if I were in that situation, I'd be like fucking vomiting or like be very like concerned. But they weren't even trying to take them out. And the whole love triangle thing was weird, because why be in a jigsaw trap just because of a fucking love triangle? So yeah, that was kind of stupid, but it was a good idea, like I said. And then there was another trap in the movie too, the lawnmower trap, which I thought was fine, where you have like the two people on the bars with glass on them, and then one of them has to fall on the lawnmowers. I thought that was a fine trap. And then there was another trap, which I thought was the best trap of the movie, and definitely the one that was the best well done, the junkyard trap, where they had a group of friends that were racist, and there was this one guy who was like super glued on the seat of the car, but like all his friends were chained like to the car. Like one of them was under the car, one of them was like had like a chain on his mouth, one of them was like on the door, you know, the door and he's gonna get run over if the car moves. So the point of the game is he has to reach the lever and pull it, even though he's like super glued and he can't really reach it. And when he does that, the car's not gonna move. But if he doesn't, the car's gonna move and kill him and all his friends. So yeah, that was a cool trap. And the super glue on the seat looked pretty disgusting actually. It was very well done with the red blood. And then yeah, we finally got red blood in a trap. And then he fails at pulling the trigger, and then they all die. Like the girl gets ran over, the guy like everyone dies, and then the guy like gets in a car accident. So yeah, great trap in the movie, but every other trap in this movie fucking sucked. Anything else I should say? Another trap in this movie was a fish hook trap, like a fish hook like stuck in the stomach, and you have to take it out, but you can't scream in order for it to come out. Weird trap, not gonna lie. Like you can't scream to take a fish hook out of your stomach. It's weird. And if she can, these tubes go inside of her, like these tubes that have holes. And what makes it weird is these tubes have holes. Like if they had spikes, then it would look cool, but it just looks odd. And then like he fails out, Bobby Dagan fails at that. And then there's another trap where this girl, like, which was definitely the weirdest trap of the movie, where this girl is like on this like machine or something, and like she like gets like her eyes and mouth stabbed from these tubes with holes. Like yeah, that was like probably like the worst trap that I've seen, to be honest. Any other traps in this movie? And then there was the hanging trap, which I thought the hanging trap was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad, nor was it a great trap. It was an okay trap where the guy had to like stand on like these little like panels to like reach for Bobby Dagan, because Bobby Dagan had the key for him, and then the time was clicking, and if the time ran out before he gave him the key, oh yeah, he was blindfolded too, so he couldn't even know which panel he was which pallet he was stepping on. So yeah, that was a cool trap. And then at the end he even got hanged. Yeah, okay trap overall, like not great, not bad, you know. Anything else I should say? And then there was another trap of the movie, the final trap of the movie, where with this pig thing, like with the pig furnace with Bobby Dagan's wife, where he was supposed to do the trap that was in his books, where he had to like put the hooks on his nipples. Yeah, that's the word, like the hooks on his nipples. And he has to go up and up into the ceiling and like connect these wires, but then he fails because the hooks like unpierce from his chest, and his wife dies, and then she gets burned by the whole pig furnace, which was another trap that looked okay. I mean, it didn't look bad, but it was another weird trap, but it looked good, you know. Anything else I should say about this movie? And then a lot of there were corpses in this movie, like dead bodies from like the previous people in the traps, that looked incredibly fake. So yeah, that's another thing I didn't like about the movie too. And I thought the scene at the end where Gibson dies from like the sentry gun trap was pretty sad actually, because Gibson was a pretty likable character to me. And then that whole scene where Hoffman like ends up in the police station, he literally does a massacre with everyone in there. He stabs them all in the throat, he shoots them. Yeah, that was a great scene, but like I said, the way it was filmed, the blood just looked bad. And then he was able to like grab Jill Tuck, and she was screaming so much like, help me, and like she was so hopeless right now, and like the best she can do is run away from him and like scratch him, punch him, try to get away from him and hide from him. And yeah, pretty suspenseful scene. And then Hoffman like looks at Jill where she's hiding, and he kicks her in the stomach, which looked pretty painful. And then he does the exact same thing to her that Jill was gonna do to Hoffman, like the reverse bear trap. Instead, this time is for real, which I thought that was very, very sad. Like definitely the saddest death of the movie was Jill Tuck's death, because she was really cool, very likable character throughout the whole series. So yeah, that was really sad when she died. And when she died, she remembered all the good memories with John, and she got her whole face like demolished by the reverse bear trap. But it was really cool to see the reverse bear trap actually get used, you know, like it actually like you actually see what it does, like in reality, you know, instead of it not being used. So it was really cool to see it like finally get used. So yeah, that was a cool / sad scene, you know. And then after that, Hoffman like burned down everything of Jigsaw. He was gonna move on, but then big twist. I love this ending so much. Like that's like the ending of this movie literally saves the whole movie for me, honestly, because the ending was great, where Hoffman, like, yeah, he killed Jill Tug, and then Dr. Gordon actually comes for him when he's about to walk away, and he has these two other pigheads with him that are helping him out. Which I heard somewhere that those other two other pigheads were the two survivors in the opening scene of the movie with the lovers triangle, which I thought that was kind of cool actually. And then and then Dr. Gordon like knocks him out with a needle, and then like it shows that Dr. Gordon was working with Jigsaw all along, like he was his secret apprentice, which I love that twist. I did not see that coming at all. That was a really dope twist. And we saw what he was doing throughout all six of these movies. That in Saw 6, when Jill Tuck went to the hospital and gave one of the envelopes in her box to this one guy behind a door, we didn't even know who that was, but we finally get that explained now. And then we see what he was doing, and we see what the video said. It said, "Dr. Gordon, you are perhaps my greatest asset. I have a request. Watch over Jill, and if anything happens to her, I want you to act immediately on my path. In return for that, I will keep no more secrets from you." So yeah, that was really cool. How if something happens to Jill, like he would take care of the problem. So yeah, that was cool. And like Jill died, and so he got a Hoffman and he trapped him in the bathroom. So yeah, that was cool. And it was really cool to see what he was doing in the other movies. Like in Saw 2, he was the one that put the key in Michael's eye, and then in Saw 3, he was the one that got the idea of Dr. Lynn Denlin being Jigsaw's doctor. Yeah, that was dope. And then Saw 4, he did the stitches with in the beginning of the movie with Art Blank and the other guy. And then in Saw 5, he wrote the message to Hoffman saying, "I know who you are," which I thought it was strong, but then it turned out to be Gordon. So yeah, that was cool. And then what else? So yeah, that ending was great where Mark Hoffman was in the bathroom and he was literally gonna get the hacksaw and chop his foot off right away. So that just shows how fucking crazy he is and how like he doesn't even want to follow by the rules anymore. Like, so yeah, that just shows how twisted he is. He was willing to cut off his foot right away. But Dr. Gordon took the hacksaw and he remembered when he did that to his foot. He even saw his foot in the bathroom too, so that was cool, and he was like, "I don't think so," and threw the hacksaw, and then he just left him in there, and Hoffman just kept yelling to him like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing? You can't fucking do this to me!" So yeah, that was great. And then Dr. Gordon turns off the lights and then closes the door at him. "Game over," he says. So yeah, great ending to the series. I love that ending so much. So yeah, the ending like saved this whole movie for me, to be honest. So yeah, like I said, not a good movie at all. So because of the ending and because of how good those characters were, I'm probably just gonna give this movie a C minus. So yeah, it was pretty disappointing, to be honest. So yeah, bye, and see you all in the next review.